The state government has started an advertising blitz to promote its education changes that will see Year 7 move into high school. But it's proving to be a hard sell in some quarters, with independent schools and families in the country among those who'll need some convincing. Isolated parents say their children will be leaving home for boarding school at a younger age. Those involved are now awaiting a report from a government-appointed task force to ensure the move is properly funded. Kathy McLeish explains.
We need you up close to the screen.
The assignment has been set. By 2015, grade 7 primary students like these will be in high school.
Have you ever seen such a thing in your life as 3 blind mice?
The Flying Start project is a large financial and structural undertaking aimed at bringing Queensland students into line with the rest of Australia. The Premier is confident.
The decision today is one that we believe is important and necessary, and one that our system is more than capable of implementing in a way.
Educators say it's the right move.
To be quite truthful, many of our Year 7 students have been ready for high school for some time.
We've got a date, 2015, and there's a lot of work now we need to do to make sure that we're ready for a smooth start to the transition of Year 7 into secondary.
We'll do an individual audit of each school as to what facilities they really do need for 2015, look at their enrolment patterns.
Along with the huge cost, Catholic and independent schools will need extra boarding facilities for thousands of Year 7 students, and they're concerned state funding will fall short.
Certainly for the independent schools there will be need for additional facilities, more classrooms, more specialist facilities, and whilst the government has providing some funding to assist with that process, it would be fair to say we would have liked more funding to have seen it better resourced.
This will be a big cost for us. We've already had discussions both with the Minister and the Premier and reiterated to them the importance of them making a commitment financially to this, to make this work, not just for Catholic schools, but for all students in all schools.
The state government has set up a task force to consider the financial impact on boarding schools. But there's one group that says its costs will be more than financial.
Amy thinks that I've painted them.
Okay, Amy, you think that they may have painted them? What do you think, Tiani?
Children who live in isolated parts of the state access primary school through distance education, like this one in Charters Towers.
Do you know what that meat is that's between the cheese and the salami? Salami, yes.
The Isolated Parents Association says eventually most of their children leave home for boarding school for their secondary education. And when that happens, many of their kids will never live at home full-time again. Under the new scheme, their kids will be even younger when they leave home.
It'll mean that Hayley will be going away a year earlier than we expected. I just hope that she's resilient enough to cope with being away from her parents, because when she finishes school for the day, she's not going to have that soft place to fall.
With most students turning 13, they'll be ready for the challenge of high school, and it will give them a flying start to the future.
Now, the government is focusing on the fact that there will be students who turn 13 from the 1st of July. What we're trying to say is that there is another group of students who will be 11 years and 7 months on the day that they start Year 7 in secondary. And that might be all right for an urban family who sees their child at the end of the school day, but our families can't. They will have to send their children away to access schooling in Year 7 in 2015.
Although we had planned to send all children away to boarding school, we had planned one at a time. It will impact us that we will have 2 boys go away in the 1 year. It was quite a shock when we first realised that we will lose more than half of our family.
The organisation says it's tough emotionally and financially. Families that have weathered economic downturn, drought and flood now face additional school fees of around $12,000, and she says government assistance isn't keeping up.
The allowances do not cover the costs. The allowances cover less than half of the costs. We are very appreciative of the allowance. I'm not saying that we aren't, but they only cover less than half of the cost. And with each year, the fees increase at a greater rate than the allowances, and therefore the benefit of the allowances is being eroded.
Let's turn the page to see what happens on the next day.
The organisation wants a flexible starting age for prep children that will allow them to be a year older in grade 7.
Basically, isolated families are feeling that they're being told to harden up, but we are very interested in the announcement around a comprehensive review of the educational services for geographically isolated students. That will not only include schools of distance education students, but we believe it also should include the impact on small remote schools, and also should take into account the financial assistance that families are going to need to be able to cope and live through this immense change and impact on their lives.
Schools, parents and teachers are now counting on the state government to do its homework.
The Queensland Government has clearly articulated that not only will there be financial support for many of the families through the living away from home allowance for those attending high school in Year 7, but they've also strongly articulated that the schools will have strong pastoral care programs, strong support programs for those students.
Kathy McLeish with that story.